Good morning and welcome to the BASS Morning Webinar. We're here to talk with Intellinet today with John Randazzo and Carlos Skinner to go over the GuestGate HotSpot from Intellinet to share the opportunity about what this product can do for your business. Without further ado, Carlos Skinner, please take it away.
Thank you, Scott. And as Scott stated, my name is Carlos Skinner. I'm the lead technical trainer for Intellinet USA. And in reference to the GuestGate MK II, we want to ask, what is it, why we use it, and more importantly, how to use it.
The GuestGate is known as a hotspot gateway. What it does provides itself as being a captive portal as well as providing security measurements. And to go in a little bit in depth about that, the GuestGate, it provides configuration-free internet access for your guests, as well as being an all-in-one wireless hotspot. And the back end, the layer 3 client isolation, this is where all the functionality takes place. You have the capabilities of throttling your bandwidth, as well as integrating password for internet access for the individual users. In addition to that, we are fully customizable for as the welcome page, meaning that the guests can customize their web page based on their business as they see fit. Also, they are able to have a redirect to any login for the website. So once their guests sign into the welcome page, they can immediately have a redirect after that. Not to mention, also we have multi-language web user interface, as well as being supported by wireless 300 Mbps access point functionality. The great thing about the GuestGate, guys, is that one, it has easy access, a simple installation, and a non-challenging configuration setup for the interface. What's more importantly, it's simple and it's affordable. In addition to that, it provides web and email access, and some of the ideal locations for the setup of the GuestGate would be conference rooms, hotels, small businesses, public space with wireless internet, as well as internet cafes and schools, not to mention doctor's offices and what have you. And real simple, the physical layout of the GuestGate, looking at the rear of the GuestGate, you have your LAN ports, and then you have your host port. And this is just a visual image of how the GuestGate will be implemented for your end user or for your client. Initially, this is the configuration screen where the guest will sign into. And this is the configuration screen for as the admin is concerned. Okay. Now, as you can see, on this device status information page, what's critical to pay attention to is the IP address of the device itself, as well as the gateway in which the device will be connecting to, or I should say be connecting through. And also, if you look at the firmware version on there, it's 1.95. However, we do have a firmware update for the GuestGate. As it stands now, it's version 2.10. It will synchronize itself with the current date and time. And this is also where you will set up your passwords for internet access as well as the guest internet access. It will keep a uptime duration count for the end user to monitor their network behavior. Now, on the next configuration screen, we have the guest configuration. Here, this is where you're able to identify what type of connection that you want for your end user. And the options that are available would be to separate the network for each client, which is automatic, as well as set up the same network for all the clients, which is automatic, or set up the network for all the clients, which can be done manually with the static IP. And below that option, you have the access control wireless LAN, in which you'll have the SSID that will be broadcasted. And know that that particular field can be changed to suit the customer's network, your client's network, as well as provide the supported modes of 802.11, BG and N, and also to synchronize their web strength based on the channel number. As we stated earlier, you can throttle the bandwidth for that for the upload and download. And more importantly, which is a great feature, you're able to add Ethernet addresses, meaning these are sites that you consider safe and user-friendly and non-threatening to your network. In addition to that, right below, you have the welcome screen, where you have the, this will be the welcome screen. If that's enabled, that means that the guest on that particular guest gate will have this presented to them. And then they will have to sign in to that with that password. Now, if your client has a Radius server, they can still use the guest gate as part of that configuration. What they need to do is just actually put in the server name and the password that's associated with the server, and then they will have functionality in addition to that. Here we have the actual host configuration, meaning that this will definitely be coming from the host network or DHCP server or router or what have you that will issue out the IP address. The great thing about the guest gate is that upon connecting an RJ45 to the host port, which is basically to your router or to a DHCP server, is that it will wait 60 seconds to see if there's any communication on the network in which there will be provided feedback as well as being issued an IP address, okay? However, if there is no DHCP server or router on the network, what it does, it automatically takes over that responsibility in becoming a DHCP server or the point of contact, meaning the gateway to issue out IP addresses for the guests. And as we stated earlier, that these guests, you can set them up to be on the same network manually or automatically, as well as having a separate IP address on a separate network. That's at the customer's, that's at their request. Also, if you look down, you're able to put in information about a package filter. However, now, with these particular settings enabled, it will slow down the traffic just a little bit, because these packets that are coming in, for as your guests are concerned, they will be screened. Basically, that's what's happening. And if you look at the bottom section where it's walled garden address, this is pretty much where you have built a trusted network for your end users to utilize without having external threats such as spam or some type of threatening email or backdoor Trojan or things of that nature. All right? And as we continue on, let's see here, you can also block addresses as well. And if you know that there are certain sites that is being viewed from your network, that we can easily have those sites blocked. And you can be as simple as putting in the host address or actually the network address as well, meaning the IP address. If there is FTP going on in your network that you may not know about or may not be aware, you can also block ports, okay, which will reduce traffic on your bandwidth, in which you don't have to pretty much continue to throttle it. Of course, like I said, if you design, if you allow permitted addresses, safe websites to be viewed for your customers and their clients, then once you have that confirmed, then that's when you create a walled garden, meaning that everything within this walled garden is safe to view. As you can see, everything is pretty much set up with a time and scheduler. The time zone is listed as well as the updated intervals, and I would just I would probably go ahead and ignore the reboot device unless it's absolutely necessary, because you will lose your default settings unless they are backed up to an external source. The internet access time schedule is based on the time setup, and you can customize that. Your clients can customize that for their end users. If they choose not to have access from a certain time frame, you would definitely have to enable the Internet Access Time Scheduler. As listed below here, you can customize it per day or by per week. So that is at the customer's or your client's discretion. Now here, this is the welcome screen configuration. Very simple to use. And as you can see here, you can use the default image or the client can upload their own. Not to mention that for the welcome text, this can be customized to support the customer's establishment or in their business, as well as provide additional information. As seen on the next page here, we are able to advance the customized settings of that screen with the welcome HTML coding, as well as the banner graphics. Okay, and this is something I would just suggest at your client's discretion. Now, the device settings, this is pretty much the interface being able to log in. If you desire to change the default password, this is where you would perform this action at. Also, if your client is of a different background ethnicity-wise, and there's a language barrier, we do have a drop-down language menu option. As you can see here, we have 8 languages that are listed. And also we have the log, configuration, and firmware updates. This is where you will perform that. Once your client has configured the GuestGate MK II to the desired settings and everything has been validated and checked, this is where they will save the settings and reboot the device. Make sure that both options are selected before hitting exit. Now, overall, the GuestGate, it provides guests with Internet access while keeping your network secure. If anything needs to be extracted from today's webinar, is that the GuestGate provides your guests with Internet access while keeping your network secure. And more importantly, it's easy to access for as simple as doing the installation and user-friendly configuration settings. Also, as a security feature, this definitely protects your private network. You can omit the ability of the end users being able to see one another and communicate with one another by setting them up individually with a static IP address. Also, you have client isolation, meaning that you're able to protect your guest computers. It's just not sometimes the guests, they are the source of certain things happening on the network. However, as providing network service or Internet access, it is our duty to provide our guests with some level of security, and we do that by client isolation. And with the wireless coverage and the speed, this is compatible with our 300N access points or with our routers. As you can see, it has the 2T2R with 2 transmitting, 2 receiving, MIMO technology implemented. And more importantly, this is scalable and flexible for any pre-existing network. There should not be any issues as far as the implementation or the configuration of this device in any network. Even though we focus on the small to medium businesses, the SOHO, small office, home office, this would be a great solution for companies that have guests on a regular basis that require Internet access. Also, please know that what's integrated is the 10100 megabits per second LAN switch, in which you're able to physically connect directly to that. And also know that you're able to scale out access points for remote locations with the GuestGate, providing greater range of that network. And bottom line, it's simple and it's affordable. I would like to extend the time now to any questions or concerns or issues that may be addressed.
Things that we've seen with this product as we've been selling this product to resellers across the United States is that we've seen the opportunities for added value services, continued streams of revenue, where resellers are able to implement this product and through a monthly revenue stream support the product with an ongoing level support for restaurants and hotels and dentists and things of that nature to be their IT support for this. Even though it connects onto their existing network, it in no way, shape, or form allows the customers to be able to access that network. So they don't need to have additional streams of bandwidth coming in that are isolated just for their customers that can utilize the bandwidth in which they have. Question for you that I see on this is, you said that you're focused mostly on the SMB market. What is the maximum number of clients that you recommend for this type of product as far as being able to get good bandwidth for the customers that are connected to it?
Scott, that is a great question, and more importantly, what you stated before the question, when you hit on some key points that are definitely accurate and true. The maximum number that we feel comfortable that with the GuestGate would not lose performance, we would say 50 end users, based on the separate network and IP addresses that it issues out and it has to manage. Okay, so we feel that that is a strong, comfortable number for our market to be supported in.
And can more than one of these be in the same network?
Absolutely. That's another great question, Scott. Not only can another one coexist with other GuestGates, they can have access points connected to them to extend the range of that GuestGate.
And so for like hotels that have multiple meeting rooms and things of that nature, just simply changing the SSID, allowing for those environments to be connected up, and obviously spreading out the requirements of connectivity.
Absolutely, Scott. Absolutely. If you know, based on the meeting rooms, the floors, and how they have their naming scheme for as the SSIDs are concerned, they can definitely run their establishment very efficiently with the GuestGate.
And the other thing that we see that this product, guys, as we're waiting for questions to come in, is the whole benefit to this type of product is when you have guests that are coming into your business. In the past, what you would have to do is give them a guest password or set up their notebook to configure to your network temporarily, having the IT person come out and do that, and then this gives your outside team that would come in periodically the ability to connect up, and of course they can VPN back into their existing network that's back at their office or whatever through this product, without having to reconfigure their notebook or to temporarily set up a scheme for them to be able to get onto your network, and then, of course, protect the client from that external PC through that isolation. The isolation is what, 256-bit?
That is
client
correct.
Isolation?
Yes, sir.
So the highest level of encryption that we have, basically it's even higher than what banks use, and that's what the federal government uses, is a 256-bit encryption.
And the reason behind that, Scott, is that, again, even though it's our responsibility, and when we provide an internet service or access, that you still have to provide some level of security and protection for the clients that are currently using your network. However, it can be those same clients that you're protecting that can also infect your network. And the great thing about the GuestGate, it separates each individual connection separately. So there's no communication, there's no spamming, there's no denial of service, or anything that can interfere with the performance of the client's network. And what it does, it pretty much isolates them separately, and through proper network management, they can have alerts performed or provided to where if something such of that nature did happen or exist, that they can just pretty much kick that particular end user off the network and continue on.
Okay, well, we do have a few questions. Jennifer, did you want to go ahead and read those out?
Sure, I'll be happy to. The first question was, are there any plans to make this PoE?
PoE? You know what, we're in the same boat here. Definitely the idea is being entertained as we speak right now. However, I do not have any additional information to provide you at this time, but trust me, you would definitely be the first one to know, Jennifer.
With that in mind, though, we could use a PoE splitter and injector.
Right, exactly. Now, in relation to that, you can definitely use the splitter.
So if you had PoE on the front end of your network, you could then send that out if you wanted to put these in isolated places. But like what Carlos also touched on was the fact that you can run access points from this to expand your connectivity. So this product might be in your server room or in your network room, and then you could connect up a PoE switch or a PoE injector to then run access points that do support PoE out into the environment in which, like for instance, a hotel for hotel connectivity to access points. So you might need additional hardware that Intellinet does provide and make to be able to expand the offering of this product beyond just a local vicinity. But with the 300N, that's going to give pretty good coverage.
Absolutely.
Okay, Jennifer, what's the next question?
What is the limit to the number of users?
So we just covered that one with the 50 is ideal. Now, question for you, Carlos. If we throttle back the bandwidth, to say modem dial-up speeds, could that increase the connectivity, or is it really just managing the IP addresses?
It's managing the IP addresses as individual networks.
Okay, so ideally is about 50, but we can always add another GuestGate, and for the pricing of this product being very affordable, we're not talking about thousands of dollars per item. It allows for, if they do need the additional connectivity, they have more users. It's a larger hotel. They can have multiple SSIDs and multiple GuestGates involved in their environment.
Yes. Jennifer, you could just direct all the questions that you have to Scott. Scott is on his A game today, so.
And a cup of coffee. Jennifer, what's the next one?
What is the MSRP on the device?
Okay, that will be a question that will allow John to, he's here, by the way, guys, and John, you want to go ahead and provide them the...
Yeah, the MSRP for that product right now is $250 on MSRP, but I know that Bass is running a special for all of their clients, so I'm sure you guys are going to be receiving, or if you haven't received already, the e-blast on this special. So that's really what we have right now for that.
But MSRP is kind of an area where, like we were talking about earlier, where you can provide an ongoing service. Some thoughts that are out there around this product that we've seen a lot of success on is where resellers are not actually selling the device, but actually installing it, charging an installation fee, and then charging a monthly maintenance fee, to manage the wireless network, and if there's any updatings on if they want the IP filtering, if they want to be able to create passwords and things of that nature, and also for the technical support for the end users. As they, most people that install this type of product are dentist offices, tire shops, the hotels. They're not wanting to be the IP help desk for this product, the IT help desk for this product.
That is correct, Scott.
And so offering that service to your end users as an ongoing monthly fee will definitely compensate you very well, so that you're not just going out there and selling a product and turning a product like you do a PC or a notebook, and then you're on to the next one. So it's the gift that keeps giving. I've had several resellers that have been successful in that market doing that, and so they're on to their 10th, their 12th, their 15th GuestGate, and they have an ongoing revenue stream of $25 to $50 a month, and aren't really receiving a lot of help questions. But from time to time, when somebody has a notebook that wants to get connectivity that might need some help, they've been able to provide that call.
And Scott,
I'm sorry, Carlos.
No, you're fine. You're okay, big guy. And it seems that the approach that you're taking, the way you're structuring yourself, or I should say aligning yourself, is that we're here as well. I mean, if there are additional questions that may have uncertainty to it, or just providing a little reluctance on the customer's behalf, they can always call in and receive A1 support from me. So that's not a concern.
Right, and partner through Bass Computers, of course.
Absolutely.
Jennifer, we have some other questions.
We do. Can the device be set to log each user off every 30 minutes, either individually or globally, to stop people from doing, say, movie downloads or anything like that?
Absolutely, and that's what I was speaking on. If you want, you can customize it to where there is a time frame that can be allotted to the handshake or the agreement, of course, when the customer signs on to the GuestGate. But more importantly, you can provide denied access to these sites. And there are companies that will provide you monthly updates of certain sites that that does the streaming. And you depend on what that's what type of client you have. That's information that you can be providing them with. I've seen this go both ways, for being able to block the IP address, block the website completely, or deny access to the end user, in the sense of where you can time them out periodically. So
like BitTorrent and things like that.
Absolutely, yeah. This crushes your network. It really does. And you can throttle, and that's a great question that you mentioned earlier, Scott, in conjunction with what Jennifer is discussing now, that to an extent you can throttle end users as a security feature to prevent the streaming of certain things, because it's required to have a certain speed and bandwidth to perform the action in the first place. So if that's limited in capacity from the start, then probably after 2 minutes they're going to just stop and give up because it's not worth it.
And bandwidth can be sort of like 56K and then 112 up to then 256 and 512K, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Right, type of high bandwidth and not diminish the service to your customers. Jennifer, what's the next one?
Next one is, can the GuestGate be managed remotely over the Internet?
As a security feature, no. And that was intentional because to allow remote accessibility and manageability of the GuestGate that provides access, or technically free access to the Internet via your network, there's a lot of security features that will just be overwritten and made vulnerable just to have that service implemented. So as a security management as a whole, it just felt like it was just best not to provide such a service.
Well, Carlos, I have a story on this that actually our general manager, when we first got our product, said, I like this product, but to be able to manage it, and he was on the guest side, he had to VPN into the office and then connect back to it from his PC to the device. So providing that they can get to the private network side of they can't get through the front side, the guest side, directly to it, but if they can get to the host side via a VPN, then can they then manage that product through the host side of the network? You don't have to be directly connected to it. You can be on the host side of the network to manage the product, yes?
Scott, I will probably have to say no, Scott. Given what you just explained to me, to perform such an action, you would definitely have to have the credentials of a network admin or a wireless engineer to make sure that the proper permissions are set in place, that the access to, depending on how they have that GuestGate implemented, you know, you will have to jump through certain portals and hoops just to even get to the access page to even sign in, to even attempt to manage that.
Right,
so,
but the management is done from the host side of the network.
Right.
So as long as you're on the host side of the network, you can manage the product.
Yes. Now that I mean I can agree with that, but just to say to reduce it to say can you do have remote management, that I cannot agree on.
Right. So the answer to the question is if you can VPN into the host side of the network or remote desktop into the host side of the network, then that is where the management feature of the product is available, not from the guest side of the network. There's no way to connect into the administrative page from the host side, because those aren't offerings that they're separated or segmented out to where you can't jump across from the guest side to the host side.
That is correct, Scott. That is correct.
Okay. So yes, you can remotely access the product, but not from the guest side of the product. You would have to remote into the network in which the product is connected into to be able to manage that product.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Jennifer, next question.
Those are all the questions I have right now.
That's all the questions. Go ahead, Carlos. I'm sorry, you wanted to add to that.
No. I was just going to reiterate what you said. The focal point of that is that they will have to have a end user, or I should say a customer, who's very savvy with protocols, because I mean you can even probably, I would say, punch a hole into their network, a private portal, in which they're able to gain access to the back end on the management side. And that's just something typically, Scott, I would not just recommend to the average end user or the average client of this GuestGate. They may know about remote management, but to go about and set it up the way you and I just have discussed, you know, that's going to eliminate, you know, a huge percentage of our end users that really have that knowledge and that experience to perform that to that level.
Right, but from the reseller's perspective, once they install these in an environment and want to be able to manage these from their office, as opposed to having to go out to the customer site to connect to this product and hook into the network in which it's done, that would be the process that they would have to be able to go to. They can't hit the GuestGate from the front side to manage it. They have to remote into the network to manage the product. And so, yes, once you implement these into multiple environments, rather than having to be on site to connect to these via the host port, if the end user gives you permission to access their network because you're their IT support, then you have the ability to remote into the device via the private network side.
That is correct, Scott.
Okay. So giving with gas prices what they are today, remoting in is very important for a lot of our resellers.
I do concur with that, absolutely.
Okay. Well, fantastic. So if we don't have any more questions, we are excited about this opportunity. We have been promoting this product now. This is, while it's not a new product, revisiting this product from time to time, reminding our customers of this great opportunity with a product that can create revenue streams as well as inroads back into clients for that constant contact is a benefit, and we see the partnership with Intellinet as a great opportunity for resellers to be able to increase their revenue streams and offer new services to their customers that they might only be offering network services to currently, another way to communicate with their customers on a great opportunity with the Intellinet GuestGate. We appreciate Carlos's and John Randazzo's time, as well as we appreciate the opportunity to serve our customers and a great opportunity to sell, to communicate with them a product such as the GuestGate, and to continue to give them value through this webinar that we're doing. So without further ado, we thank you for your time, and appreciate the opportunity to give you this information.
Thank you, Scott and Jennifer, for extending the offer to us, and we appreciate that. And if there's any other information that we can provide, please do not hesitate to contact John or myself, and we'll definitely get that information to you. And we'd like to thank all the attendees for the webinar. And that's all that we have at this time, unless John has a few words.
No, all I was going to say was all the attendees, if you guys have any questions or concerns, you can contact Scott. He'll be able to answer all your questions if there's any technical. And you could contact us, because it seems like Scott knows the product a little bit better than all of us.
It's been a very successful opportunity for BASS, and for those in attendee, if you do have any questions, please feel free to send those to your sales rep. If we can't get the answers for you internally, we can always turn those on to Intellinet to get you the engineer questions that you might have. I know in the past, like they said in the beginning, the firmware updates are now up to 2.10. The great reason for that is that it's a constant evolution, and so if you have some specifics, or some special opportunities in which you're implementing these into environments, there is the opportunity for upgrade and for continued promotion and for this product to continue to grow. So without further ado, we appreciate your time, and thanks for attending. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.